Perspective is really important, and even self-speak, as it's often called today. What you say to yourself and about your own life is very, very important. There are people now who are no doubt mulling over the achievements that they would like to accomplish in the coming year, the direction they would like to see their life take. But before you ever get to those kinds of things, there are some other things that you need to think about in terms of creating a structure and a paradigm for how you live your life as a Christian. And to take a look at those, I want you to go in the New Testament to the first epistle written by Peter. We're talking about how you view yourself, how you look at your own life. And let me just say that there are a few things that Peter tells us that set really an incomparable structure for how to view your life as you move forward. Number one, and here's what I think is the beginning point of an appropriate view of oneself as a Christian. Remember who owns you. Remember who owns you. You will notice in chapter 1 of 1 Peter, verse 18, you were not redeemed or purchased or bought with perishable things like silver or gold from your futile way of life inherited from your forefathers, but with precious blood, as of a lamb unblemished and spotless, the blood of Christ. Then verse 21, through him you have become believers in God. What that's telling us is that God owns us because he purchased us. Acts chapter 20, verse 28 says that God bought us with his own blood. Chapter 2 of 1 Peter, verse 9, since you have been purchased by God, you are a chosen race, Christians collectively, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, and then this, a people for God's own possession. Christians are slaves owned by God. 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20 says, you're not your own, you're bought with a price. We know from the New Testament that you were chosen before the foundation of the world. Your names were written in the Lamb's Book of Life. You were chosen to be given to Christ as a part of his bride. In time, the Holy Spirit convicted you, you were brought to salvation, and you came to be the possession of Christ. John 6 says, you were given to him by God the Father. He paid the price, his blood, so that God could take you, own you, and then give you to Christ as a gift of his love. I think this is at the foundation of how a Christian views his life. You're not your own. You are bought with a price. You are not your own. And at all junctures, you have to constantly remind yourself, I'm not my own. I'm not a master of my own fate. I'm not the captain of my own destiny. I'm not in charge of my own life. I belong to God. Yes, there is a giving up of prerogatives. There's a giving up of personal ambitions. But at the same time, there's the promise of God that he knows best and will empower you to be everything that he wants you to be, which is far more than you would ever be on your own.